Kia ora, good morning. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. I got woken up about an hour ago. And I always know when I get woken up it's because I need to wait for something. I sit in the pre-position and I wait to be called to come up from the underworld to do God's bidding. I always joke and say I sit with Odin. After the whole Delphi murders live, I fell down a rabbit hole so big I don't even know. Like I'm a little bit discombobulated. I am in shock at my level of accuracy and correctness and rightness, at how spot on I was, in the fact that now Chris makes perfect sense. He's an Odinist. His wearing his Church of Luciferian t-shirts and the pagan high priest drawing he put on the walls after he took me to that pagan ritual site with all the standing stones in that. Well, this morning I found them. I found the posts that I'd made with the photos and all of that. I've put the links in the description box below. Donald Trump came out and made a racist remark about India that Mark Rubio had to defend by calling Trump an idiot, basically. But it proved my point, like Donald Trump calling India a hellhole. That's, you can't get any more racist than that. And I was like, well, he's just proved my point. That he's the Odinist, he's an Odinist. And they're racist. And then I remembered, the Noah's Ark, Project Noah's Ark. I looked at that picture again, the one that Elon Musk posted during the Super Bowl. I put it up the other day in my live of that blimp. If you have a look, and I never noticed it before, it's brown skin and black people who are being held at gunpoint in that painting. And then I remembered the dream that I had with the Kabul 13. I called it my Kabul 13 dream, which was a double jump, a bilocationary jump. I saw two things at once, two events at once, playing out over a specific time frame. I saw two events happening in one jump, that was to play out over a course of a few years, but all to do with Biden and Trump setting America up for its downfall. And at the end of that dream, I talked about the map, the DC, Washington DC, snapping off the map and floating into the water, and a whale jumping over the land that snapped off, Washington DC. And I couldn't understand why a whale. And I thought, was it to do with Wales and the flood in Wales, or, but now I know it was my cosmic whale. So that dream I had, when did I have that? 5 years ago? The whale in that dream was my cosmic whale jumping over DC, because they were about to be exposed for what they were doing, for who they are. And Trump wasn't president then, Biden was. But I knew it was coming. Well, my dreams did. I knew it was coming, and the thing that annoys me in digging up all this dirt, like I've put the video of Chris when we went to this random forest during lockdown. I'd never been there before, and he just happened to find in this big forest this painted stone that had Odin on it and the date of when Martin asked me to be his girl, the one I have tattooed on my arm. And it's in his writing, and I knew it was in his writing. I knew it was in his writing. They had pentagram stuff up in the forest. I knew something wasn't right in the fact that I knew to just play along with it. But because I was being drugged, I couldn't connect all the dots. And then after I got locked up, I remember looking at that and realising that the hand of Chris holding that rock is the same hand holding the pagan ritual stuff that they were selling on their eBay account, Freya's Cauldron. The exact same hand. And the account is from Wakefield, where I live. And he's had an eBay account for, like, God, longer than I have. And I've had mine for like 16 years or something. And then I started finding the stuff about the Queen and why she was adamant that they don't you call me. And I put up a thing saying the Queen is bothered by the fact they keep referring to her family as Nazis. And then I found the one where she said, don't you call me a Nazi. There are good people who fought in, good men who fought and lost their lives in a war to make sure that fighting on the side of good. And she said, and my family will not be seen on the side of Nazis, or I can't remember what she said. It's all there. I just posted it. But yeah, I was like, I'd been leaving clues. The evidence was all there, sitting, waiting to go. Even the prophecy is a poem that I put up just before that march last week, and bringing up all the stuff about Elon Musk doing the Nazi salute and Keir Starmer being in a communist camp in Czechoslovakia, and then suddenly it making sense what Archangel Michael said. Trump first, then Starmer, then von der Leyen in the EU, because now that I've been proven I'm right, and they are all Nazis, and they're all Odinists. Remember I was saying yesterday, France, Germany, the UK, America, they're all Odinists. Zelensky literally got a shaman, a Ukrainian shaman, to do a pagan ritual a couple of years ago. So they're all Odinists. And they all helped kill the Queen. So I said she deserves to have the last say, because it proves everything I said right. And when Trump came here for his visit and he posted that thing about Q and removing the Queen to get at the king, remove the bishops and the pawns and the blah, destroying Christianity, and it was von der Leyen and Pfizer and all that, it was the Pfizer vaccine that they gave her. And I found the photos of them giving Princess Catherine the vaccine as well. And she got cancer, and so they really did kill the Queen to get at the king in order to break apart the King David bloodline. They really did it. You can't, my evidence now that those poor little girls were sacrificed, I think it's got something to do with their names as well. Because Libby is a derivative of Elizabeth. her nickname, Queen Elizabeth's nickname was Lilibet, because Lily and Libby are derivatives of, just like Debbie's a derivative of Deborah, Debs, Debbie, Deborah, Paul, Paula, Pauline, Mike, Michael, Michelle. They're all derivatives. And Libby is a derivative of Elizabeth, German. So I think she was chosen because of her name. And I'm starting to wonder whether it wasn't to do with the in preparation for getting away with killing the Queen. The thing that there's two things that bother me the most about it, but it's not like to a point where it's going to cause me any sort of distress. It's just that I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed and I'm embarrassed of myself for two things. One, I had written all the evidence there and pulling up all these posts. I was telling myself what was going on and who they were, but I hadn't connected the dots. Like it hadn't registered in my brain. But the evidence is there that they were everything I said they were. I keep saying Chris and Martin were in a cult. At one point, Martin was registered in prison as being Wiccan, and that's just a form of paganism. Santaro, his girlfriend, and Katie and that, the one who helped him put up all the stuff in the park that day. They're killing children and animals. They killed Ghibli. Their cult is not necessarily them as people. I know they killed Ghibli. I know they sacrificed Ghibli. See, they like to either do a child and an animal or a child and a celebrity. And on the same day that the girls were killed, Harrison Ford was nearly killed in a plane crash. And remember, I was talking about planes and all the stuff that was happening, where Donald Trump was fighting with them to keep the airports and stuff open. It had something to do with planes, and I said it's almost like he was trying to keep the skies open so that they could take Harrison Ford down in that plane. And we know Donald and Musk like to crash planes, and then because remember, he calls India a hellhole, and then that plane crashed in India. And I saw the energy waves off the back of that plane at the same time when people reporting hearing the back of the plane making crunching sounds. And Musk was in India too. He was either there at the time or had just been there. And on that rock, Chris drew a picture of a bird. Supposed to be a crow, I guess, but still a bird. Planes. The second thing I'm ashamed of is all the people that I let in and around my life, whether they were sent to come into my life by the cult or not, who took the side of the Nazis, who took the side of the child killers, who came into this knowing they were being sent to me to try and trap me, blackmail me, get evidence, get me to fall in love with them so they could break my heart, like that sort of thing, honey traps, who were going along with child killers and sexual predators and men who hate women and men who are closet gays. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay, but if you're going to be gay, be proud. Be out and proud. Why hide it? they hide the fact that they're gay, and because they have to hide their sexuality, Trump, Musk, Chris, they take it out on women. All three of them utterly hate women. And so, sending people into my life to try and trick me into falling in love with them, trying to get me to stray off my path so that I wouldn't figure out where I was meant to build the foundation. Chris saying to the boys, I had people in America help me break your mother's marriage up. Suddenly, the way he started dressing, his motorbike, he'd never mentioned ever wanting a motorbike ever in his life until just before he tried to kill me, when he started changing. After I left him, I left him in 2015, and it was around the time I started being targeted, 2016, 17, 18. That's when he started changing. The whole way he dressed changed. He started getting into the occult stuff, like black magic, and then all of a sudden in 2022 he wants a motorbike out of nowhere, and then he calls it the the black necrophile or something, the black necromancer, or no, Black Lilith. Oh, I can't remember. Black Lilith. I can't remember. It's all on my social media. He got a massive bonus from Sumo Digital. And instead of buying his children clothes with it that they desperately needed, he bought a 30-gram motorbike. And then dressed up in leathers and started sending photos of himself to all his women. And it's like, I didn't realise it until late last night. He dressed like a proud boy. He dresses like a proud boy. And the racism is tenfold. He doesn't like Arabs. He doesn't like Hispanic people. He doesn't like Indian people. He certainly doesn't like Indigenous people. Everything about him changed. And my boys are around that. It was decided by the people in league with the Nazis and pedophiles that I wasn't fit to be around my children because I worshipped God and not the devil. Can you believe that? Because I'm a black-blooded physicist with more power than Donald Trump when it comes to the occult. I'm more powerful than Lucifer. Odin's on my side. I call him Uncle Odin because he's, in my stories, he's Miss Jodine's dad. And Hades is Ruby's dad because Ruby and Miss Jodine are cousins. And Satan's grandpa. And I'm just, why did I let these people hang around me? Why did I engage in conversation with these people? I knew they were being sent into my life, and I played the game, and I played the game for so long that it slowed down. I can't really say that it slowed down me seeing what I knew was there all along. But it's because I understand that everything has to happen in divine timing, and that the pennies weren't going to drop and none of the stuff was going to fall into place until God aligned everything, because existence and reality in correlation to time, reality can't lock into place until existence falls into line with reality. Because you have the existence of time and the reality of time. And existence of time happens all at once. It's simultaneous. Past, present, and future happen all at once. But time is drip fed into reality, which is the 3D physical. So for us here on Earth, time is drip fed every second. Drip, 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 drip. We drip fed time, but the stuff that's coming from existence through that drip feed, nothing lines up with reality until existence falls into line. And so that's called divine timing. So things get exposed and things make sense when divine timing is at play. So I put all the stuff out there in existence of time, which made sense to nobody in the reality of time, because divine timing hadn't come into play to link the two ciphers to drip feed existence into reality to make reality fact. So to anybody living in the reality of time in the 3D physical world, none of the stuff that I was saying made any sense, because I was seen in existence. I was in the cosmic universe. I was in the creation frequency and the God consciousness. I could see it all clearly. Just like in my cosmic whale dream, I was in the universe. I could see all the stars. I could see everything clearly. But to the people on the stage, they could only see what was in front of them, which was the audience. But I could see it all from the perspective of the people on the stage to the one looking down over it all. I could see it all from both perspectives, from both sides. But only when God allowed everything to link up so that my ciphers match the ciphers of what's being said here on earth, like with the Delphi murder thing, watching that video and listening to them, and then Donald Trump coming out and saying that India's a hellhole and blah blah blah. These things had to line up. Even even with me doing that burp after I drank the water, that wasn't a coincidence. That was perfectly timed, because when I did that, I was like, oh, that's just like the cosmic whale burp. And then the penny dropped. You heard me like, oh my God. And then the penny dropped, and then boom, 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 boom. Everything started to fall into place and, well, unravel for them and fall into place for me. And then suddenly, everything that I'd been saying made sense. Even the whale blowing out its blowhole and shooting us to the cosmos. Which means that there's people watching me who are musicians. I knew they were musicians who are lost and looking for guidance and direction, and they're listening to me and they're following me and they're wanting to get on the boat with me, but they've lost hope, they're losing hope. I don't know if they're musicians who got caught up in this whole Donald Trump thing with me. I don't know. But in that dream I was in a boat with musicians who got swallowed into the belly of the whale, who so there must be musicians out there who have been watching me and following me, who want to be a part of what I'm doing, who feel like all hope is lost, like they've lost their chance at collaborating with me. And they've given up thinking that they could collaborate with me. But the cosmic whale's like, no, you're all in this together. And in the dream, remember when we got shot up into the ethers, remember the crate opened? This is me opening the crate. I see you, I know you're there, and all hope is not lost. You just got to step forward. That's all. You just got to make yourself known. That's all you got to do. Step out. So, if there are musicians out there that have been following me for a while and listening to me and wanting to be a part of what I'm doing, just reach out. All hope is not lost. Because when they were in the belly of the whale, they'd given up. I give up. Like, all hope. We're never going to get out of this. We're never going to have. We're never going to be a part of this. And it's like, no, that's not true. You just have to step forward. And like in my llama poo dream, when the shaman said to me, the reason, like, you don't realise how loved you are, you don't realise how many people are watching, and I'm like, why haven't they stepped forward yet? You know, my Mayan temple dream, when I went into the the corridors of the temple, and I saw the Dorian Gray, you know, the mirror image looking back at me, and when people started poking and prodding it with sticks, it tore its face off with madness because people had figured it out that it was a fake version of me. And when I came out of it, and the boy was holding the bowl of water, and the llama pooed in the bowl, and he said, "You're more loved than you realise." I said, "Well, why haven't they stepped forward?" And he said, "Because you scare the shit out of people. They're scared of you." But, hang on. You only need to be scared of me if you've sinned against God. If you're not killing children and animals and abusing women, and if you haven't stolen from me or hurt my children or anything, if you haven't done any of those sort of things, you've got nothing to worry about. Nobody's perfect. I'm not expecting anyone to be on my level because it's taken me 53 years to get on my level. And if you're younger than me or even older than me and you've only just started your ascension, you're not going to be on my level for a long time. It takes decades to master an ascension. I can help you speed up the process, but your gifts are your own. The ones that you develop will be your own. You're not going to be a time jumper like me. We all have our own gifts. So I made that clear in the Quantum Menace. Every single one of them, every mutant has a gift that's individual to them, just like the X-Men. But that's true in real life. And God promises, when you have your ascension and you master your virtues and add hope and faith to that, when you come out the other side, you are given supernatural powers. Mine just happens to be time jumping. And to anyone who's not a time jumper, nothing I say or do is going to make sense until existence lines up with reality. And now I can't unsee it. And I'm pissed off at myself because it's like I should have seen all of this before. I knew he was in a cult. I knew they were in a cult. I kept saying they were in a cult. Everybody said I was nuts. But now that this whole Delphi murder thing has been exposed and I did the investigation and I can't unsee it, now Chris and his behaviour and Santaro and Casey Hamilton and Andy and Jess and Dan and all of it, and Martin and quote unquote Armour and all of it, like now it makes sense. I knew it. The evidence was there. I kept saying it about Musk. I kept saying it about Trump. I kept saying it about Starmer. But none of it connected yet because I hadn't listened to that Delphi Murders video. And once I listened to it, I thought, oh, I'm just going to did some looking up on Zhigler. And then I was my blood ran cold. I actually felt it on the back of my neck. That shock to my central nervous system of, holy shit, Donald Trump really is Lucifer. Donald Trump really does have a cult. MAGA are a cult. The Proud Boys are a cult, and they're called the Odinists. I called it Odin. And it was annoying me because I was putting it out there as Odin, Odon. But then I thought, that's because of my training. because Father forbids us from, we often, we're not allowed to call people by their real name, because to recognise a person by their name gives them, to call someone by their correct name when they are sinners, when they're devils and demons, is showing them a level of recognition and respect. So it was part of my training. It's not that I was disrespecting Odin, because I love Odin, and Odin loves me. It's because I was showing disrespect to the cult. That's why I spelt it wrong. So it was on purpose, but I didn't, because I forget how deep my training goes, and I'm not going to make sense to anyone because you're not me, and you don't do what I do. You're not in the same league as me. It's just me. I'm the only X-Men in this league. I'm the only mutant in this legion at the moment, so I'm not going to make sense to anyone. Nobody's going to understand my world. Nobody wanted to learn it because the training was too hard. It required them to have morals and ethics, and they didn't want to do that. But if there are musicians out there, as my dream suggested, and you've been following me and you think you want to be a part of it, you don't have to be afraid, and all hope is not lost. You haven't lost your opportunity. I don't know why you would think you'd lost your opportunity, other than the fact that you might be associated with people that I knew from the past or something. I don't know. But clearly, if you were in that dream and we got shot up through the whale's blowhole into the cosmos, God's saying, no, you are supposed to be a part of this. But you have to step forward. You have to, because remember in the dream, it was the musicians who were in the crate with me that were performing on stage with the kids. So you're supposed to be a part of this, but you have to step out on stage. You have to be the ones to step out on stage. You've got to present yourself, basically. Stop hiding and take the leap and present yourself to me. And then you'll be a part of it. The only thing that's stopping you from trusting your instincts that are telling you to be a part of this with me is your fear. And fear is all based on anxiety from overthinking for things that may never happen. You're preemptively creating anxiety for yourself based on something that will never happen, because your intuition is telling you to follow me, and your intuition is never wrong. Your intuition is your conscience, and your conscience is never wrong. And if you keep following me and watching me behind the shadows and longing to be a part of this, that's your intuition. But it's your fear, because you've gotten into your subconscious. And your subconscious is putting all that fear and anxiety. No, she's not going to want to talk to you, and no, you're never going to be a part of this. And, she's going to know that you're associated with this person and that person, and she's not going to want to have anything to do with you. So you're letting your subconscious talk your conscience out of not listening to your intuition. So all you have to do is just take a deep breath, take that leap of faith, and jump onto the stage and say, this is me. I'm a drummer. I'm a opera singer. I'm a violinist. I'm a saxophone player. I want to be a part of it. I can help you compose your songs. That's all you got to do. Don't let fear override your gut instinct. If your gut is telling you do it, that's your conscience. And your conscience is never wrong. But the voice in your head lies constantly. If you're not balanced yet, if you haven't balanced between your subconscious and your conscience, between what you feel and what you think, um, the voice in your head is going to lie to you constantly, but the voice in your gut is pure and never lies. So just take the leap. Just reach out, send an email, that's it. Once we connect, the thing is, even if you are connected to the people from my past, if you're an artist out there, if you've worked with my ex-husband and you've been following me, you've been watching me, if you've worked with people like Musk or Trump or whatever, and you've realised, holy shit, I was used as a pawn in a really evil, dangerous game for humanity, and I don't want to be a part of this, and I need to seek salvation and make up for the fact that I went along with what they were saying or doing, but I didn't kill anyone or hurt anyone, or I just like got caught up in the gossip, or I got caught up in sending you nasty messages or whatever. I don't know, whatever. And now I feel guilty and I need to make up for that. I'm not going to turn you away because God wouldn't turn you away. If you're not, if you've only been like a misguided asshole, but you weren't a sinner, if you didn't sin like Chris and Martin and that did, or Musk and Trump and that did, God's not going to turn you away. And if you were in that crate and you got shot up into the cosmos, He's not turned you away. He's saying, yep, come on board. Come and do it. Come and be a part of it. Look what's waiting for you in the future. But you have to be the one to take the leap of faith and step out on stage and say, this is me. This is my audition. I would like to come and work for you. Can you guide me? And, I'll be your boss. We'll never be, I'm never going to be best friends with any of you. You'll come into my home where we'll work on things together. You'll come to my home for Christmas parties and Halloween parties and that. But, and I would be at your weddings and I would spoil your kids and all that sort of thing. But we're not going to be best friends because, I have to maintain um, that boundary because I will be your boss. Even though we'll be working together, I'm the one that's going to be paying your wages and giving you like employment insurance and medical insurance and all that. So you're never going to be like my bestie, but we can be a family. I have to maintain a professional distance, but I will 100% be there to back you up and to support you and to promote your talents, whatever it is. But there were people in that crate with me, so there's musicians, and I mean, it was focused on the arena, so it must be like musicians and lighting people and roadies, people who have experience with putting on performances from the macro to the micro, sound lighting people, musicians, performers, that sort of thing. They must be the ones who are watching me and following me, wanting to be a part of what I'm doing, but not knowing how to approach and feeling like all hope is lost. But God's saying, no, no. If you want to be a part of this, you just come correct. Just approach. Just email me. That's all you got to do. Regardless of who you know, just don't lie to me. If you've worked with Chris, or you've worked with Musk or Trump, or if you've worked with anyone who came after me, just don't lie. Just say, I used to be a friend of, or I used to work for. Just don't lie, because if I find out later on, when when I'm writing up contracts, employment contracts and all that sort of thing, if I find out later on that you worked for them, or you knew them, or you hung out with them, and you kept it from me, then I'm not going to trust you, and then you won't get the job. Just don't ever lie to me, and don't ever be disloyal. Loyalty to me is like the golden key to never having to deal with God's wrath. The one thing you don't want to be with me in terms of God and Odin and all of them is being disloyal to me. Because if you're on my side, you're considered part of God's army, because we are coming together to save humanity and the next generation. So if you're disloyal to me, you're going to be disloyal to God, and then that's when karma's going to come and get you. That's the only reason why you should be afraid to approach, is if you're not genuine. If you have ulterior motives, if the reasons for you coming to me aren't for the purest intentions, that's when you need to worry. Because if I find out, then the gate's going to come down and all hell's going to break loose in your life, not mine. But if you're genuine and your heart is pure and you really truly want to be a part of this because you want to pass on your expertise to children so that we can raise a better world, then I don't care about your past. Just don't lie and be loyal, because I want people coming to work for me at this foundation who are in it for decades. People who don't want to leave their job because they love it so much, because it feeds them, it enriches their lives and feeds their soul, because they're giving back to children who would otherwise not be given the opportunity to show the world just how talented they are, because they live in countries and in a society that deems them as being unacceptable because they're a bit odd, a bit weird, a bit different. Because they're not normal, but they're not normal. They're above normal. They're way above normal. So, yeah. So I'm just in shock at how right I was. I was right about every single thing. And it was those plane crashes. If they hadn't have crashed those planes, I wouldn't have figured all of it out. And like I said, the weird thing is with the murders of those two little girls, there was all that plane stuff going on at the time with Donald Trump. And the reason why they hated me wasn't just because of my physics, because I'm more powerful than them. It's because I'm more powerful than them, and I'm a woman, and they hate women, and they hate powerful women, they hate strong women. But I'm also black. I'm Mesoamerican, so I'm First Nations, I'm Polynesian, I'm Egyptian, and I'm Persian. You can't get more black than that. It's just for some reason the Irish, I'm also like 6 feet tall, so the Irish and Viking blood took over. I can't believe it. So now what I need is for everyone in America and Great Britain and Europe and that to hear my last couple of lives, from my cosmic whale one through to, well, no, from my mum's dreams, yeah, my cosmic whale to the oracle, to the Delphi murders, to this one. I need people to start listening to my lives, and when they do, they'll be furious. I've given pretty much every nation in North America, Great Britain, the Commonwealth, and EU every reason to cause a rebellion, to start a revolution. I've been saying since day one, because I've been studying serial killers my whole life. Because of my dad, I talk about this all the time. My connecting the dots and mystery inside history and all that. It's all because of my dad, investigating unsolved murders and unexplained mysteries and all that. And I've been studying serial killers my whole life, and I've been saying from day one that serial killers and people who commit these murders are doing it for the Illuminati, for the for cults. It's an occult thing. Richard Ramirez, Charles Manson, Ted Bundy. They all admitted to being, Richard Ramirez, Night Stalker. Remember, he had the pentagram on his hand. They were all in the cults. They were all in these cults. Ted Bundy was a politician. John Wayne Gacy. They all got sacrifices. They all killed people to make their sacrifices for their cult. They all had connections to the politics or law and Hollywood. And I saw the pattern decades ago, and I've been saying it for 20, 30 years. These murders, I mean, I'm not talking about domestic, when the husband kills the wife or anything like that, but what we call these unsolved murders, these I was talking about it, about these black men that have been going missing in the South in America, and I've been saying they're sacrifices, especially they're racist, so they kill black men and they kidnap black kids and black babies and all that sort of thing because they're considered what Bill Gates calls the deplorables. The black people are absolutely despised by the neo-Nazi cult. And remember when Donald Trump was bombing Nigeria? And Macron was threatening Burkina Faso? It's all because they're neo-Nazis and they hate black people. And here I am coming along with this physics that they have no clue how I can do what I do. The AI for all their technology and their satellites and their lasers from space and their data centres and that, not one of their robots can do what I can do. Not even in a gajillion years. And it's come from a black woman, which will piss them off even more. I can do physics they can't access. I'm a woman and I've got more black blood in me than white. And yet I look like Snow White. But I'm just as pure as Snow White. And that's why the animals, just like in the Disney, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, all the animals come out and gather around them because of their purity and innocence. I'm not perfect, but I'm pure. I put up that thing yesterday about you have to be celibate for 2 years before you can become a nun. I've been celibate for 11. I haven't had the sexuals, intercoursalals with a man for 11 years. Because even because my man was locked up, we never had the chance to consummate our marriage. So the last person I had the sexuals with was Chris before our marriage ended because he tried to choke me out. And I found out yesterday that targeting the throat is a big thing with Odinists because they believe that the soul leaves from the throat. So I'm sorry, I'm just remembering when he did it because he used to hold me by the throat and he put his forearm across my throat and I almost passed out. It was the only way that he could finish doing what he was doing. And I used to hurt so bad. Like sometimes it used to hurt to walk. Because towards the end of our marriage, the only way that he could ever get it up and do it and finish was by being violent, smacking my face. Like I said, he punched me in the face and cracked my tooth. And then I've been riddled with earache ever since. And that was the last time. I wouldn't do it with him after that. And then he said what he said about never wanting to get married and having children. And then that's when I knew our marriage was over. And then it was after I got with Martin, he suddenly started wanting to have the sexuals. And then when I was saying no, he was just helping himself. But yeah, I found out yesterday that with the Odinists, they target the throat because it's where they believe the soul leaves the body. So my calling in life isn't what I've been doing my whole life in regards to death and murder and unsolved murders and serial killers and all of that. Um, Not a lot of people would be able to handle doing what I do. Being an occult physicist, you have to study a lot, you have to look up a lot. Because I've had to study human behaviour in order to understand the mammalian mind. I've had to study everything from bestiality, necrophilia, um, pedophilia, all of it, trying to understand where it comes from. Is there a way we can explain it that makes sense to the psychological mind? And I can't begin to tell you how many times that's a serial killer. And then when you look at the serial killer, you look at their background and it's like they're all connected. So other than, where it's like black on black crime, like shooting each other or domestic violence sort of thing, every missing person who's never been found, if they're black, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, even white, but if they're white, they're predominantly going to be from lower socio-economic backgrounds, Hispanic, where bodies are turning up all over the place, gay men, young women, prostitutes, that sort of thing. They're serial killers. They're victims of the cult. They will all be victims of this cult that has been going around and practicing for decades, centuries, since before Jack the Ripper, H. Holmes, all rich, famous, powerful, connected people. Even if they're poor, they're connected to the rich, famous, powerful. Because the serial killers take on the responsibility, they themselves become the sin eater. They collect the souls for their masters, but they themselves take on the sin of the master. And then they get the recognition, if you watch the movie The Kill List, you'll understand what I mean. Because the people that were killed in that movie were proud to die for Lucifer. They were proud to die for the devil. They were proud to be murdered because it was an honour to be chosen to be the sacrifice. And some of these people were, powerful, rich, famous, in the village and all that sort of thing. And then he had to make the ultimate sacrifice at the end. And he was in the special forces. And in order to be a part of that cult, he had to kill his wife and child at the end. But he didn't know he was fighting his wife and child. He was, they used mind control on him. He thought he was fighting a demon in like a gladiatorial kind of battle. But it turned out, after he stabbed them and killed them, and he snapped out of it, he realised he'd killed his wife and son. His son had been tied to the mother's back, and so they used mind control to make the special forces guy. I think he was Ukrainian, like he'd fought in the or Bosnia, or I can't remember. You'll have to look it up. It's a brilliant movie, but it's based on real life. If you watch that movie, you'll understand how Hollywood and America and the Illuminati and that work. But it's heartbreaking. And they killed the cat as well, and they killed my cat. And then they tried to kill me and my son. Chris, because remember I said you got to remember he tried to sacrifice Thomas as well that night. He was more than happy to throw his own son under the bus. But I took it to protect my son. And in that movie she dies to protect her son. But I managed to save my son. But he killed his cat, and then he went after his wife and son. And he killed my cat, and then he came after me and my son. The firstborn. And now you can't unsee what's just unfolded. And the thing that sickens me is that the police and the judge took his side. Took the side of a devil worshipper over the occult nun. How messed up is that, eh? And they're protecting the grooming gangs and the Prime Minister, who was part of an international conspiracy to kill our Queen so that they could get to the King. And they got to the King because he made that speech. Palantir, the CIA Nazi movement, are going to be watching everything you do. And then Tommy Robinson comes along, who's clearly a proud boy. Patriot, patriot, rah, rah, rah. Mega, mega, rah, rah, rah. Donald Trump, come and save us, rah, rah, rah. And it's like, holy shit. He's a proud boy. He's an Odinist. And he got ordinary, everyday people out onto that street last Saturday, not realising that it was not a march to for English pride. It was an English Defence League, neo-Nazis. He got people out. He got black people. He got Arabs. He got all these people out thinking they were fighting to bring down Starmer, not realising that he had got them all in to take part in a neo-Nazi march. English Defence League. And Starmer's pretending like far right, but he's in on it. He went to communist school in Czechoslovakia. He's one of the, like they're all in on it, but they're just pretending like they're fighting each other so that you don't see they're all in on it, but I saw everything. It's all there. And now Musk's Nazi salute makes sense. And von der Leyen and Macron and Merz and that working with Zelensky makes sense. And he does the pagan ritual stuff all the time. He did that whole pagan ritual thing a couple of years ago where he brought the shaman out. Oh, Russia, we're going to get you pagan shaman, blah. And I'm like, holy crap. He's doing a pagan ritual. Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, is doing a pagan ritual. He's a devil worshipper. And everyone's like, oh my God, she's so crazy, and poor Ukraine. And now it's actually true. And now you can't unsee it. So every missing person, every missing child, especially if they're of colour or lower socioeconomic standing, every body that's turned up randomly in a waterway or park or forest or all of it, all of them, they've all been victims of human sacrifice. They just don't want you to know it. They hide it under the guise of missing person, serial killer, when they're all human sacrifices. And they won't hesitate if it's a baby, a child, if it's someone like John Bonet or Madeline McCann, you know, from the richer families, it's because it's a high honour. And you usually find they're mostly blonde haired, blue eyed, but it's considered a high honour. Celebrities like Anne Heche, for example, to kill someone rich or famous, like it's a high honour. Just watch the kill list. You can't unknow everything I've seen now. And it was all there in my posts. It's all been there on my social media. It was all there. And I just love how the Queen had the last laugh. She had the last say in it. So I've put the links in the description box below. But remember I said, after when they targeted my phone 4 times in that one day, and then my mum came in my dream and I said they've targeted me for the last time. This is their last. This is the last time they're coming after me. Because now we're returning the favour, and then look what happened. Boom. So when this goes to court, the evidence can't be denied. I was right about everything, from start to finish. I haven't been wrong about a single thing. Because God is never wrong. And now Donald Trump and Elon Musk keep opening their mouths and just exposing themselves. And Starmer, they keep opening their mouths. And the truth is coming out, and they don't realise what they're saying. And I catch it and grab it and go, look, and then pull up stuff. See? Look at the video, look at the dream, look at the... And then people are like, holy crap, she was right all along. Because God's never wrong, and I'm his messenger. So if you are these people that are following me, and you've been, you know, wanting to come and collab, but you feel like I'm not going to take you on board, or all hope is lost, and that's not true, that's in your head. So if you want to collab, just, you know how to get hold of me. Have faith. Have I been wrong yet? So I'm going to go and have my coffee, second coffee, listen to the birds. The crows are yelling at me because they know it's time for their breakfast and I haven't put it out yet. So, yeah, I was the victim of a race hate crime because I, as an uneducated, barefooted, black-blooded woman, have a physics more powerful than any government, military, president, secret service. And they hate me for it because I use it to expose them all. So now you know why all those black boys went missing down south in America, unfortunately. Like that boy that ended up got turned into a wax mannequin. The boy went missing and he turned up. The parents, was it the mother or something, saw him as a mannequin. True story. he went to apply for a job at a fashion store as a model, I think it was, and then he never came home. And then, like a few months later or something, his sister or mother or something like that was walking past the shop or something, or went to go into the shop to ask questions, and he was on display as a mannequin. And they were like, that looks like, or was it his friend? That looks like Daryl or whatever his name, Darius or whatever his name was. And then it turns out it was actually him. They'd embalmed him and waxed him, and it was a fashion house, like some famous fashion designer. And we know all about them in the fashion industry and the modelling industry. We know all about the Epsteiners and all of that. So, yeah, they took his life and used him as a mannequin, this black boy. That's why they were out to destroy Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers and Malcolm X. The slave trade, the lynchings, all of it. That's why they've been targeting Africans and African Americans in America and that, because they're all neo-Nazis and they're out to exterminate black people. That's why in the 60s and 70s, when they brought in cocaine, they introduced cocaine to America with the express purpose of wiping out black people, so that fathers and mothers would become addicted and break up the family household and all that. The CIA specifically targeted African Americans. But cocaine became too expensive. It became the drug of rich white people. So then they brought in like meth and heroin and crack and fentanyl, because they were cheaper to get hold of. But it was done with the express purpose of destroying the black family dynamic. That's the whole Fabian society as well. Stop them from going to church, stop them from believing in God, stop kids growing up with both parents. It was all done by design. And that's why you've got more African Americans and Hispanic people in prison for drug crimes and violent crimes than white people in America, because it's all part of the extermination plan. They just didn't want you to know any of it. I mean, it worked with the Jews, except they were more brazen with the Jews in World War II. But they took that, the Nazi space program. Remember I was saying about Elon Musk taking over from the Nazi space program? They're just taking over from the Nazis. Except this time they have Israel on their side. But they're still targeting Jews. There's still innocent Jewish people getting killed. But they didn't think that God was watching. They didn't think anyone would be smart enough to figure it out. But I had help from people like Queen Elizabeth and Odin, who were like, "You're not putting this on me." So yeah, right. So there you go. So it's a bit of a shock, really. I'm in shock. I feel like a stunned mullet at the moment. I'm sort of in a daze of what the hell's just happened, but you can't deny it. But it is what it is. And yes, I'm coming. Look, the crows are yelling at me. So I've got to go and feed the crows, otherwise they're going to come right up to the window and start screaming at me. And I will speak to you later. I'm going to get another coffee. And if you are one of these people who have been following me and you want to be a part of this, just email, just reach out. Just don't lie about your background and who you know or what you're coming from. Have faith, because if you repent, if you've been caught up in something, and you're carrying guilt, or you want to repent, as long as it wasn't anything like the bad stuff, you got caught up in the gossip or whatever, the gossip frenzy, you judged me unfairly or anything like that, God's not going to turn you away for that, as long as you come with pure intentions. If you're honest and you have a pure heart and you genuinely want to be forgiven or want to make up for what you got caught up in, you're not going to get turned away from that. You'll get turned away if I found out you killed someone or hurt someone, but I don't think you'd be that stupid. But if you were just genuinely caught up in the gossip and all that sort of thing, then no, God doesn't turn you away for that. He lets everybody have a second chance at making up for their mistakes. It's only sinners he doesn't forgive, the ones who take the lives of the pure and innocent. But judging the life of someone who's pure and innocent isn't a hell-worthy sin. Everybody gets a second chance. I was by no means perfect, and he gave me a second chance, and look at what I got as a result. Because I came clean and I was honest and I did the work and I sought forgiveness and he gave it to me, and now look, I'm his little girl, I'm his right-hand man, I'm his trusted bloody general. So, okay, have faith. Just email me, that's all. So I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.